What is up, and welcome back to another episode of So There's That. I'm your hostess, doing the mostest, Kivon, and we are here with season 2, episode 5, Missing While Presumed Dead of the NBC hit series Found. Y'all, first and foremost, let me shout out the writer Niceole Levy. First off, you are so fun on Twitter. You are a joy to tweet with and to interact with. And ma'am, this episode has me having conversations that I honestly did not expect to have at all, mainly because it's a slow episode, but not slow in the sense of like it didn't keep my interest. It literally like halts you in your feelings and halts you in your emotions to the point where you can no longer run away from the trauma or the feelings or anything that you feel, and you have nowhere to go. There's no more room for avoidance. You have to confront the thing that is bothering you. You have to come face to face with the elephant that's in the room. I didn't think one of my tweets would be seen as like, I don't know, controversial or whatever. But I found myself in a conversation that, of course, brought up certain things for me. Like, as y'all know, this show and some of the themes and the plot and the emotions is very like personal to me. And there are a lot of things, especially in this episode and some of the stuff that I tweeted about, that I experienced emotionally firsthand. So my perspective and the perspective of others is going to be vastly different. And so I view this episode in a completely different lens than some people. I won't say a lot of people, because I do feel like there are a lot of people out there who view this episode, or if we had a conversation, would see this episode the way that I see it. So I do want to spend some time on that, but first I want to talk about a couple of things briefly in the episode that happened that really grinded my gears. Okay, so y'all already know Margaret been getting on my nerves 4 episodes in. I don't want to harp too much on her per se, but all I can say is literally for the past 4 episodes, I've been like, why is Margaret so hell-bent on not forgiving Gabi? Like, something else has to be going on with her. And we kind of see through this case that she's unraveling, and she crashes out bad in this episode. But we're finally getting like a little bit of light shed on the fact that something else aside from Gabi kidnapping Sir is happening here. And I'm really hoping that by the time we get to the mid-season finale, that there is an answer, or at least like full-blown light shed on what is going on with Margaret. And part of me feels like this is something that has been brewing since season 1 that is carrying over, because it just doesn't make any sense for Gabi to say, hey y'all, at the end of season 1, Sir was locked in the basement and now he escaped. It seems that the way that she's responding to this is just very highly explosive. Something else had to have been under the surface. My guess is maybe she resents Gabi and M&A for not helping her find her own son. Maybe she hates herself with every case that she solves, and not being able to solve her own. She has misplaced anger, and she's blaming Gabi for something that is going on with her own self-hatred, self-deprecation, and self-loathing. I don't know, but this episode truly highlights that this ain't got nothing to do with Lacey at all, because everybody else is trying to move on and she is just stuck and she refuses to move past this. So I think she's just using this situation as like the carrot, but it's not the real problem at all. Another thing that really got on my nerves is Trent's dad. Now, of course, Trent's dad would get on my nerves. Why? Because Trent gets on my nerves. When they were in the police station, he was like, look at you. You got your superwoman cape on and you turned your trauma into a real life superhero job. Good on you. When the entire theme of this episode is how the police lets down consistently and continuously, and a lot of times on purpose, to bypass red tape and to bypass pressure from their own internal affairs, is how they discard and disregard black and brown people who are missing. And so in this case about a missing Latina, you got Trent's white daddy telling a black woman, look at you, you was kidnapped, but look at you now. She had to save herself. Y'all didn't do nothing for months. Sir was able to kidnap her and then kidnap somebody else in that time frame, and you did nothing. And so this episode just blasts through those doors at the disparities and the missing white woman syndrome that we talk about all the time, that we continue to push the narrative of. And I love how they keep it forefront in a conversation so that black and brown people don't feel gaslit or don't feel made to be crazy when we continuously talk about, like, oh, if it was a white person, then this is how they would have responded versus us. This is still a real thing. And so I definitely appreciate Niceole keeping this out in the open throughout this episode while still tying it into the theme of Sir and Gabi. And with this episode, more of a triangle of Sir, Gabi, and Lacey. So that really got on my nerves, but the messaging behind it and the purpose behind it really solidifies it. Now, what I want to talk about in this episode. So we're going to talk about Sir, and we're going to talk about Gabi, and we're going to talk about love, trauma, and the cycle of abuse. So, I don't know if my camera is slowly lowering. Okay. So I made a tweet and I was just like, okay, we see that Sir is applying whatever it is that he's doing as love to Gabi. And all we've seen so far of Gabi is like this hardcore woman. I really wanted to escape. I wanted to get away. I wanted to do all these things. And so it's like, if you hated this man, if you really wanted to get away, then why do you continuously allow him in your life? Why do you continuously allow him to help you? So I was just like, I want to see what her version of love looks like. We know that he has a twisted version of love. She has to have some twisted version of love too in that. So, you know, people learned what gaslight means and people learn trauma bonding. And so you get people who respond in ways where they are unintentionally coming across as internet psychologists without being aware that they're talking to people who have experienced what Sir has experienced and who have experienced what Gabi has experienced. I have experienced some very complicated feelings around trauma, around abuse, and around love. So when I made this tweet, I'm thinking of what I know. I'm seeing Shanola Hampton act this out. I'm seeing Mark Paul Gosselaar act this out, and I'm listening to the words that they say, and I know that I've used those words and I've felt those words and I've received that and believed that this is what love is. So we talk about the scene with Sir and Christian, and he talks about how he endured abuse and shielded his sibling from abuse and raised his own siblings, because that is what family is supposed to do. That is what I was supposed to do, to show you that I loved you. And so he takes it as a huge slap in the face when his brother tells him, you didn't raise me. And he's offended. And he's offended because he got beat for you, so that you could look back on your own childhood through rose-colored lenses and say that our mother was a great mother. As the oldest, I know what that feels like. And you feel this obligation not only to endure getting in trouble for your siblings, but to also take that endurance and apply it as love to your siblings as well. So you're receiving a form of abuse from a parent, the person who's supposed to teach you what love is from birth. And you equate that to love, even though you know you don't like how it makes you feel. But then in order to get power and in order to feel like you have some control, you then wear that abuse from your parent as armor. And then the way that you love your siblings moving forward is what you also think love is. I don't know why my camera is doing the most. I already barely got in front of this camera to begin with. So anyways, And so Sir is stuck between two wrong sides of love. Love isn't getting yelled at, getting beat, getting cigarette burns, being starved, being beaten when your neighbor comes to feed you because they see that you're looking gaunt and you're not the same size as everybody else your age. Love is also not being like, well, I'm going to take this abuse so that my siblings don't have to feel it so that they can have a better life than me. So Sir is stuck in this void of a very weird and twisted form of love. Even though he desires something softer, he was never shown or treated in a way that gives him the tools to know how to do that. Now let's look at his relationship with Gabi and Gabi's relationship with him. Gabi loved him, okay? I think people forgot that this was her favorite teacher. She enjoyed going to class. We've all had a favorite teacher. We've all experienced some crush, whether it was romantic or whether it was just intellectually stimulating. That is still a form of like affection that she had for him. So her most favorite teacher, who she had a large affection for, kidnapped her. In the beginning, it's like, oh, I need to get the hell up out of here. But almost a year has passed. What do you think happened in that year? Tell me. And in that whole time, right, she knows him taking her is wrong. And she probably can't fathom why somebody she cared about and somebody who told her that he cared for her and her future and all these other things did this to her, right? But then also, he didn't sexually abuse her. He didn't physically abuse her. He fed her. He read to her. They reenacted stories. He read to her every night. He made sure that she was groomed. He did all these things. So in his mind, I'm not doing to you what my mom did to me, therefore this is love. And in her mind, she's like, he's kidnapped me and this is wrong, but also I'm not being harmed, so what is happening here? And so I use the term love loosely, mainly because what other term would you have? We can call it trauma bonding, we can call it something else, right? But let's look at the history of abuse and the history of what love actually is. Somebody said, you know, the love between a parent and child is different between love and romantic relationships. Okay, sure. But when you're born, you're not in a romantic relationship with anybody. Your source of love and your source of learning what that actually means comes from your parent. And to make a statement that says that parent-child relationships or love is different from partner relationships, you're discounting the fact that you learn the difference between the parent. They are your sole source of information while you are growing and while you are in their care. But what a lot of parents do, because they didn't have the tools, is beat you, bully you, ridicule you, shame you, and then when you go to bed, they kiss you on your forehead and they say, I love you. Every night, you go to sleep with their apologies in your ear saying that tomorrow they will do better. And so then tomorrow you hope that they will do better. Why? Because they're your mom. They're your dad. You made me. You kept me. So you love me and therefore I love you. They don't. And then the parents will still say, especially like parents would be like, don't just fall in love with the other person that you see. Make sure you get to know them. Well, I don't know you. You abuse me. You harm me. You hurt me. You kiss me and tell me that you love me. You show me these things every day. But then you tell me not to accept that from somebody else. Well, what do I accept from somebody else? I don't know. So if they cuss me out, if they send me a menacing text message, If they yell at me in front of my friends or in front of their family, but then we go off one-on-one and they kiss me and they hug me and they make love to me and they tell me I'll never do it again as the night settles, and it seems or feels like what you, my parent, said, why wouldn't I believe that that's what love means? What else does it mean? And so, if you, as a child, grow up in an environment where at the end of the day, I'm the mama, I'm the daddy, and you my child, and we love each other, and that's what love is, then what do you expect when they go off into the world? Even if they know and feel and cry and are in pain every single night, they don't know how to get out of it because they're also still in contact with the person who showed them that this is love. So we look at Gabi, we look at Sir, right? We don't really know yet what her relationship is with her dad, but we do know through flashbacks that he won't even go to therapy with her. So while she's trying to be strong for herself and trying to be strong for baby Lacey and trying to be strong for even Lacey's mom, the person that she needs the most to be on her side and to give her that space to break down has abandoned her because he can't get through his own grief enough to be there for his own child. So she is alone after running away, and she's alone now as an adult with people like Margaret and with people like Trent ridiculing her and not seeing where she's coming from. Thank God in this episode, Lacey of all people is the one that's like, get over yourself, Margaret. Get over yourself. You are not a victim of kidnapping. And I said this last week with Trent. You may have been affected by abuse, but you were not abused. And so therefore you will never understand what it feels like to actually be the victim of abuse. Margaret is sitting over here on her high horse. No, we don't need to work with Sir. And Lacey's like, I don't give a damn how we find this child. Or how find this child's mother. I know what it feels like to be lost and to be confused. Who cares if Sir is the one helping us or giving us clues or giving us nuggets? We need to help people. We can deal with this other shit later. And Gabi nods at that because she finally gets an ally and she finally gets somebody to vocalize and be on her side. That makes her feel that she's not crazy for the decision that she made. If you've never been traumatized, ever, you should watch this through a lens of understanding and not through a lens of trying to be some social media psychologist. Because you will inadvertently offend a lot of people. And even if you haven't been kidnapped or never been in an abusive romantic relationship, it goes back to the relationship between a parent and a child. How many of you can't stand your mama? Can't stand your daddy? How many of y'all? But every year on their birthday, you making these long ass Facebook posts. Every year on Mother's Day and Father's Day, you're posting these beautiful pictures and you're talking about how they your rock and how they your this, that, and the third. Meanwhile, they locked you in a closet whenever you got a bad grade. They beat you with an extension cord. They denied you Christmas gifts over something menial. You cried because your feelings were hurt and they said, keep on crying, I'm going to give you something to cry about, and then they beat you, which then keeps you crying. But that's my mama, that's my OG, I love her. Ooh, ain't gonna never be nothing. I'm gonna put her up in the finest house. I'm gonna put her in a mansion. I'm gonna do all these other things. But then when you actually think about very pivotal moments of your childhood, it's marred with pain. So even if you can't connect on a kidnapping level or a romantic level, look at Sir as your parent figure and look at Gabi as you. And when you ask what keeps Gabi involved with Sir, ask yourself, what keeps you involved with your own parent? What keeps you going back to your baby daddy? What keeps you in your bad marriage? What keeps you being friends with the person that you were friends with in second grade because we've been friends for so long, even though you outgrew them 10 years ago? What keeps you from being honest on your performance reports at work? For not reporting you're a boss? What keeps you? And I want the audience to watch with that in mind, with that question in mind. What keeps you? And when you ask yourself that question, and when you come up without an answer, or you come up with an answer that's very gray and not black or white, I think you will be able to receive what the writers are giving us in a completely new light. And only then will you actually be able to at least sympathize with people like me who grew up and challenged her own parents. I challenged my parents and like literally damn near verbatim and was like, why do I automatically have to love you? Because you had sex and created an egg and decided not to abort me? I don't know you. Why do I have to get to know strangers to figure out if I love them, but I'm supposed to love you off the strength of DNA? And at first it was not well received. Black parents do not like being challenged. And I could go through the history of why. It all roots back to slavery, but we won't go down that route. But black parents do not like to be challenged by their kids. Everything is because I said so. Everything. Even though their actions and what we see every day contradicts everything that they say to us. So as a young teenager, I told them, all of them, I have step parents, I have biological parents, I have people who acted as guardians and really shaped me and stuff like that, but they got challenged bad and they hated it. Why do I need to love you? There's a period of time I didn't even tell my parents I loved them because I didn't. I don't know you. I don't know you at all. And I'm starting to wonder if you're actually trying to get to know me. Do you know my interests? Do you care about what I'm doing, or am I a nuisance? And a lot of times that's how you're treated, right? You're tolerated. And so as you're raised, as you're going through life, all these things are in the background of any relationship and any interaction that you do with anybody. Teachers, mentors, coaches, boyfriends, girlfriends, friends. All of it culminates and leads to how you move and how you perceive love. And if you're lucky, it's healthy. You can set boundaries. You can recognize when things are off. But a lot of us, it was not healthy at all. To the point that when we experience something nice or calm, we see it as something unreal and untrue because it lacks passion. It lacks chemistry. It lacks sparks. Because our abusers replaced our pain with these buzzwords that makes us think that this is the thing that we need to crave in order to feel alive and in order for something like love to actually exist and be true. How many of y'all friends know, or how many of y'all got friends who was like, oh, I broke up with them because it was boring, or we didn't argue? He didn't chase me. I want somebody to control me. I want somebody to yell at me. I want somebody to hem me up. Like, those are the things that we romanticize because society romanticizes abuse and calls it love. Says that it's passion. Says that it's sparks. Says that it's love at first sight. When really it's just dysfunction. So there's that. Season 2, episode 5 found. Y'all, like I said last week, I can't go bar for bar on these recaps because, again, I'm in therapy. I'm through a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, it's a double-edged sword. I feel things and remember things as if they are happening right now. And it's great when I'm auditioning and when I'm acting because I have something to pull from, and then I can immediately get out of it because it was 10 years ago or 12 years ago or whatever, right? But then when I'm watching shows like this where I'm just like, ooh, I'm so excited for the episode, and then a sob is escaping from me because something in it, or a word or a phrase or a sentence or a scene, like yokes a part of me to the forefront, I'm just like, oh, whoa, y'all got me. So yeah, I can't go bar for bar every week. I can't do that for 22 episodes. Like, I can't. I'm sorry. I need to protect myself. But I do love the conversations that come from each of the episodes, and I enjoy the interactions on Twitter. I grew out of, a long time ago, I used to be resentful of people who didn't experience the pain that I experienced in life. I used to be really upset, but I'm not upset anymore. And all I can do is just ask those people, tell me about your life, tell me about those things, and live vicariously through them while understanding that everything that I went through did help shape me. And I love me. I love the me that I am now, which is why I, like, me, Sir, and Gabi and Lacey, like, we're all like wrapped up. I'm very wrapped up into those characters and into those storylines. Not any one person, but just all of them put together, because I just see so much of the self-healing that I had to do on my own, and getting the courage to actually go to a therapist and talk about these things and stuff like that. It just it's very cathartic. So definitely excited for everybody who has never had to experience this. I'm super happy for y'all. I just ask that y'all, the way that I view y'all, and I'm just like, man, that is so great. I am so happy. I want y'all to view people who've experienced this trauma, whether it's trauma adjacent or exact. That's what's happening in the show. I wish I would look through the lens of like, wow, I'm sorry that you experienced that. That's all I ask. And with that, I'm gonna wrap up this episode of So There's That. Okay. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment in the comment box below. If you have friends and family that don't like getting on YouTube, but they like listening to just audio stuff, you can go ahead and have them follow me on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for those long road trips, for those plane rides, train rides, bus rides, all types of stuff. You can also follow me on Instagram at So There's That Podcast. And again, I be getting in trouble over there on Twitter, so follow me on there at Kivonchi. And announcement. This Sunday is going to mark my 50th episode, and I am doing a giveaway for my 50th episode partnered with Sable Bourbon. Go ahead and watch my previous video up. It is titled 50th episode giveaway celebration. Follow the rules. Thank y'all for rocking with me, for getting me to 50 episodes and listening to me in my rants. We're almost at 100 subscribers. So I just wanted to do something for my YouTube family and for my Twitter family, because y'all locked in and you keep me energized. So thank you so much. I love what I do. I do it for me. The fact that y'all listen to me and watch me is just a bonus, because I'm gonna say what I gotta say anyway. But to know that a lot of y'all come on here and really listen to me, agree with me, challenge me, get me to think about things in the way that you receive them as well. I enjoy that so much. Like, I can't convey it without getting ready to cry, because I just feel so much. Oh my God. Hold on. Oh my God, is this how Kid Fury felt the first time he cried on This Is the Read? Hold on. Okay. These are happy tears. These are happy tears. I'm just overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. And just even 10 years ago, just being like, oh my God, is anybody gonna listen to me? Is anybody gonna like what I say and what I put out into the world? To this point, you know, like, oh, you got 50 episodes, or you got like 90 something subscribers or whatever. Like, numbers don't matter to me at all. Like, I really don't care. I just care that the right person hears me at the right time and the right message gets conveyed. So if that's one person, then it'll just be one person, and it makes me feel good. But it's just really overwhelming to know that me being myself is like making a difference. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. And making a change. Yes. So yeah, I will catch y'all on Sunday with my 50th episode with From, one of my favorite TV shows. This is crazy. This is crazy. Oh my God, the last time I cried happy tears was in Paris. Oh, fuck. Okay. All right. Love y'all. Bye.